Hey everybody, welcome to
WEEZCAST.
I am your host, Aidan Morden, with co-host
Caleb.
and co-host
Steven.
and special guest,
Matt Reed.
Alright, today we are going to be listening to Weezer's fifth studio album, Make Believe, on vinyl, and so we're going to go listen to that, and we will be back to discuss it. Hey everybody, we're back from listening to Make Believe on vinyl. So we're gonna get right into it with drum roll, please. Hey, that sounds like it sounds just like the beginning of Beverly Hills because it starts with a drum roll.
It doesn't.
So I'll start us off with this one, and then I'd love to hear Matt's opinion next. He is our guest. So the song is musically simple, but it's super hype. I think it's a great, fun, exciting start to the album. And, I feel like everybody knows the song, whether they know it's Weezer or not. A lot of people have been like, oh, I didn't think I knew any Weezer songs, but yeah, I've heard that one before. And I think it's funny that he's singing about not being successful, even though at this point, Weezer had kind of made it pretty big. They were reasonably successful. I love the self-deprecating lyrics as well. He's not, too harsh, but it's in, a fun way, as opposed to the normal way where he's just utterly, beating himself up. And also, I really love the talk box on the solo. It was really cool to see that song live, and, how they have the tube rigged up with the microphone when he's playing. Mm-hmm. So he's, making the sounds with his mouth and the guitar. So, it's really cool. And something I noticed on the vinyl is the bridge vocals. The backing vocals are very nice too.
Huh.
I noticed that.
Wait, the bridge. What's the bridge?
The bridge when it kind of slows down and he's singing about how he never stood a chance, and then it goes back in and he's singing about how he's a beat down fool. The vocals there that kind of move it along are so good.
Okay.
Matt, I would love to hear your opinion.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the song that I know the most, I'd say, from Weezer. Just because I remember I was in elementary school when it came out, and it was everywhere. You couldn't get away from it. Even if you wanted to, it was in the grocery store and everything. But yeah, and also it's very interesting the way it starts out because it has that "We Will Rock You" vibe with the doom 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 doom.
Yeah,
So
thought of it like that.
Yeah, me neither.
So
actually.
it's very much going for the Queen anthem. Just this is gonna be a big album, and they go right into it. I guess I've never really looked at the lyrics before, honestly, but I guess one of the things I was questioning at first was, is he longing for the Hollywood lifestyle, or does he just want to be rich and famous? Because I mean, you can live in Hollywood and be broke. Sometimes people, you want to live in Hollywood because you want to keep up with the facade, but you can be rich and live somewhere else. But then, you alluded to, with the bridge, he thinks he's too average for Hollywood. And maybe it's just because he thinks or believes that the rich lifestyle is unattainable to maintain. Maybe he's just I'm not that kind of dude, I'm not the celebrity that needs to wear, I don't know, $100,000 worth of merch and stuff like that. Which is easier to attain if you're not okay with that lifestyle.
Yeah. And he certainly doesn't seem like the type. He's a very simple, nerdy guy. He doesn't seem like he'd be some sort of a wild partier in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
But he can't stop partying.
He can't. We'll learn about that on Ratitude. The Rivers Cannot Stop Partying.
Such a swift song and catchy, especially the chorus when the guitar comes in. Also, one thing I did notice was, so Steven told me when we pulled in that the vinyl, he heard that out of all the Weezer albums, or most of them, the vinyl for Make Believe sounds way the most different from the actual CD and album itself. And actually I found that, especially with Beverly Hills. Mm-hmm. It sounds to me it sounds a pitch higher in a way. So anyways, I like the idea of the song. The lyrics or whatever, but I just like the idea of it. The solo is amazing, especially the wah, the tube thing. The song, I think the song is mixed pretty well. If you told me that this was from one of their newer albums, that's how good I would think it is. because I think it's mixed so well, and I think like out of every song on this album, the audio and the guitar in that sounds the most professional.
Yeah, like this album's definitely a step up from Maladroit or anything previous as far as the production quality.
Mhm.
It's like top notch.
Yeah, I agree. Were you done?
Yep.
Okay, perfect. I actually don't have much to say about the song.
What?
Well, everyone knows it already. It's like Aiden said, it's really hype, but I found it's also really chill at the same time. So like, if you listen to it, if you're like really energetic or if you're just relaxing, it's like it's got chill vibes as well as hype vibes. I found that interesting. But other than that, it's kind of repetitive, especially if you've heard the song a ton of times.
Yeah.
Which we all have. So like, you know, it's actually not my favorite song on the album, but of course it's still pretty great. Just that's it.
Amazing. Phenomenal.
Well-
Incredible. For how simple it is.
Listen, he likes green.
True.
I like this album better than Green.
Really?
I do.
That's so exciting for me.
Wow. At least you have some good taste.
Me too, actually. Matt, would you like to start us off with Perfect Situation?
Yeah, I love the riff of the song, how upbeat it is. I love the guitar solos in it. I I didn't realize, again, with the lyrics, his identity seems to be rooted in how well he's currently doing with the opposite sex. Basically, if his romantic life is doing well, he is loving life, and in this case, he does not seem to be doing well, I guess. It's just like, yeah, you kind of see, like, insecurity vibes and things, as if, like, oh, girls don't like me, therefore I must be doing pretty crappy in life. So...
Yeah.
Amen or ouch. I feel like that's something that I love about Weezer is the relatability
Oh, okay.
in a lot of areas. So
Yeah.
I actually do love this song. I love the way that it sounds. It's just beautiful, musically and lyrically. Pretty much nothing negative to say about it. I like the way he says "obviously" in the first verse. It's weird, but like sometimes he says things weird and I don't like it. Like when he says "garage" on the Blue album. But sometimes he says things weird and I do like it. Like obviously, yeah. It's about him losing another love interest. So tragic, and we've had a lot of that so far.
classic Rivers.
Yeah. But it is a really nice sounding song. And one more note that's applicable to the whole album. Like Aiden said, production quality is way up there. Especially after Maladroit, where I found the drums were really overpowering a lot of the time. And like, or the guitar was really raunchy and loud too. This album, like, the instruments are blended perfectly. And the vocals, like, pretty much flawless.
I love how River's voice in this, like, I love how the harmonics in it are displayed, especially when there's a long intro, when he comes into it, like, after the long intro, I think they did a really good job doing that. I think it's really nice. Harmonics are also pretty good, I'd say. Lyrics for this album are better than, I feel like, the last four, like, when it
Definitely.
comes to love songs. He doesn't want to be lonely, but the other albums are, like, saying negative things about love. And I find this one, like, not every song, but most songs, it's talking about either getting hurt by love or trying to seek it again in a fresh start.
Yeah. I think it's a really unique song. Like Caleb's saying, I love the intro and how it's so built up and then how it mellows down and then the keys coming in, because that's another highlight with this album on top of all of the instrumentals being amazing and perfectly mixed. The keys really shine in this album more than any other Weezer album out of all of them, I would say. And like, so when it's like the drums and it's the piano together and him singing, it's very fun, it's very uppity, it's exciting. And I found, like, actually even like on the vinyl, the keys stuck out even more to me than they have like just listening in the car or on Spotify. And then when it goes into verse 2 and it's doing the same thing where it's like focused on the drums and the keys, and then it adds in the clap sounds and like the building of the lead guitar, it just builds really, really well. And then, like, of course, the oh-ohs in the chorus, it's so much fun to belt out and sing along with. And, you know, it's another example of Rivers saying that he isn't confident enough to talk to a girl. And when he's with her, he's worried he's not good enough. And the bridge is excellent. I love that he's showing hopefulness as opposed to a lot of the other songs on the other albums. He's begging to be shown that it'll really happen, that he'll actually have love, which is, like, you know, it's relatable. He's being vulnerable. It's very heartfelt. And I like that for some reason the word logic stuck out to me. He's trying to figure out this logic and reasoning to live as though he's going to find love. So I think that's really nice and encouraging. The solo, incredible, and like what the bass is doing in the background there while it's going is really cool too. Back into the chorus, it's just it's very well done. Now, this is such a pity.
What is?
The next song. Caleb, why don't you start us off?
I've heard this song before, but every time I listen to it, it reminds me of a song that I've heard before. Like maybe another 80s song or something. I can't think of what it is, but it's all like it always reminds me of a song I've definitely heard before. But I like the electric keyboard on it, or whatever they're using for that. Talking about finding peace and love and always fighting, which I found was very interesting to sing about, and solo's pretty decent.
Ironically, the only thing that's pitiful about the song is how underrated it is, because this is probably my favorite song on the album. It's so good. It sounds pretty 80s to me. I'm pretty sure there's a synthesizer in it.
Mm-hmm.
And the lyrics are so good too. Like, they're tragic and inspiring somehow. I guess the way that he's saying, he's admitting that the situation is a pity and that they should give their love to one another, and it sounds almost hopeful until the end, where I wrote down, I was trying to think of adjectives to describe the ending, but the only word I could think of was perfect. So I wrote, the ending is so perfect and just perfect, 10 out of 10. Because it gets there, and he does the chorus where he says, he drags out the part, our love, and then the background vocal saying destroys us, and blends those two parts of the chorus together, and it's like, it's just the perfect ending in every way, and it just sounds amazing. It's a perfect song, in my opinion.
Matt?
Yeah, I do like the kind of funky, old school groove it has to it. Yeah, it kind of should be like a dancing song at a wedding, except for I imagine the people that dress up like Napoleon Dynamite, like that kind of dance or whatever. The one question I have about the song, I guess, is like, what makes someone a fascist pig? Like, that's a pretty intense insult, I guess. Like,
That is.
what do you have to do to make yourself be called that? I don't know what reasoning got him to believe that she would call him that. I don't know. Like, what do you have to do to?
I never really thought too hard about that, but
Yeah.
that's actually
To me, that sounds like a politically charged statement, so like maybe they're opposed politically.
Like an Animal Farm sort of
Like-
reference.
Oh.
Yeah, like she's
Oh, yeah.
left wing and he's right wing, and they just bicker about, like it sounds like they don't get along very well in the song. So that's
Yeah.
probably one of the things.
Clearly, what a.
So she
such a
calls him a
pity.
fascist pig because he
Yeah.
voted for Donald
Wee.
Trump.
I don't know if
a wild
Rivers
guess.
voted.
Maybe not.
I would vote
Maybe
for
he's too
Rivers.
insecure to vote.
I had the best words.
I have 4 words for this song: retro, disco, cowboy vibe.
Cowboy.
Cowboy, yes. The
It
solo.
is. Even the intro, it's very hip. It's very cowboy and westerny, but it's also like so danceable. Like Matt was saying, it's like I picture being like at a roller derby or at an arcade or something with all the flashing lights. Which is kind of funny that he's singing about being in a toxic relationship to such a fun song. The solo, though, as you're saying, like especially cowboy vibes. It sounds like 2 guitars that are obviously wearing cowboy hats are having a conversation and having a standoff legitimately, because it's almost like they're the way that it's like the notes are almost like quick-witted responses to each other, And I noticed too they're even panned differently, so it's clearly like supposed to be two separate parts. I mean, I'm not saying that Rivers obviously wanted it to be a cowboy vibe, or for two Western guitars to be having this conversation, maybe having a standoff. Who knows? I mean, he did wear a cowboy hat on the cover of Red, which is the next album we're going to be doing. So who knows? Maybe Rivers is a cowboy at heart. But, you know, the backing vocals, they're very cool. They stand out a lot on the vinyl, which I'm going to be saying that about a lot of them. Because a lot of it does. Because I think that the mix, it's always sounded really good. But on the vinyl, it really shines.
About what you said and what Matt said, about it sounding Western, I wrote that down as well. And also the dancing part, I wrote very easy to dance to or to cry to. So I find that a bunch of these songs are like opposing vibes together. I don't know, like it depends what mood you're in. It's good for anything.
If you're in one mood, it's good for lyrics. If you're in one mood, it's good for the music.
I also don't have much to say about the next song, Hold Me. So nice slow song, and then I like how it picks up. Lyrics are a bit weird and weak. Solo's pretty good, but it's still a pretty good song, but like for me, it's not like hype, but it's still pretty good. It's just not my favorite song, but that's I still really like it.
This song, it's probably not written about God, but that's how I feel when I listen to it. Because he says you're taller than a mountain, deeper than the sea. That's kind of the only way I can make sense of the lyrics. But it also matches perfectly if you think of it that way. So every time the song comes on, I think, oh, this is a great song. Like, for me to just kind of feel and think about God. Because it does sound that way, and it sounds really nice. And it does remind me of certain psalms, how it's saying, like psalms that ask God why he's forsaken us and like return to us and protect us. And in the song Hold Me, he's saying like, I want you to come and hold me. And so it's just that's how I feel about the song.
We'll have to start doing that one at church.
Yeah.
change a couple of the lyrics, good to go.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a nice sounding song. It's a slow one. It's that's how I feel about it.
Okay. Matt?
Yeah, I like how he portrays himself as very small and insignificant. And this girl is, you know, he praises her. He thinks very highly of her. There's like this opposite view, like, and maybe it's insecurity again or that sort of thing. It desperately needs to be held. Maybe physical touch is his love language, or maybe he just has not been hugged or held in a long time. Maybe he's not felt loved in a long time. But what I like about the song is that as he's like desperately crying out or whatever, it has like this emotional vibe to it, and like his vocals get high, but the guitar also gets high as well. So like every part of the song matches the emotional need for love or to be held. It all goes in the same direction, which makes it that much more emotional for him.
Yeah, that's interesting you say that, like, because I feel in the same regard. It's like the way he's singing and how the instruments kind of match it. It's almost like he's explaining the situation, but in the chorus, it's just this uncontrollable outburst, like a cry for help.
Yeah.
Like with everything he's got, and the instruments go a little bit unhinged as well. Like it's not sloppy, but it's almost sloppy with the way that everything's hitting. It's a very perfect storm of a mix, because it's chaotic, but it still comes through clearly and sounds really amazing. So, Peace is one of my absolute favorite Weezer songs. There's a lot of my absolute favorite Weezer songs on this album.
I did not know that.
But I absolutely love Peace. I'm a sucker for a solid song like this that has an absolute perfect mix and a super, super good balance of acoustic and electric rhythm, and then a solid lead. It reminds me actually to like other early 2000s music like Avril Lavigne. Like Complicated by Avril Lavigne is another song that really well, like it has the acoustic guitar and the rhythm electric just blends so well with it. and just like the song's absolute perfection, like lyrically, musically. Well, I guess it's not perfect lyrically. It's a little more empty, but the words that he does say, he's saying a lot with. And it's a go-to song for me when I'm feeling like stressed out. I like that he says my poor brain is going to pop, because sometimes at work, if I'm like stressed out with things, I feel that way. And it's like, it's simple, but I feel like he does a good job sending the message, and it's like encouraging, or on the verge of encouraging. And I like too that the outro uses all of the instruments together in such a fun way that really highlights the hopefulness within his cries for help. Like at the end of the song, just it blends and fades so well, and I can feel a lot of emotion in it.
It felt like it was a really good follow-up to Hold Me. Like, it feels like a sequel.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, like it just flows really well, both musically and lyrically. It's like, oh, now he's kind of singing a similar song that's like has a similar meaning to it. And it's an emotional song again. You said the lyrics were a bit empty. I think you mean it had like less lyrics to it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote like kind of simple and straightforward, just like pouring out his heart kind of thing, which is good. It's just like, yeah, this. I find this song very, very relatable during therapy, as I'm trying to cope with reality and let go of coping mechanisms to face things as they really are and trying to find peace about it. So that, yeah, listening to the song for the first time since going to therapy it hit me pretty hard. It was like, this is very meaningful.
Yeah.
And it's a nice sounding song too. So that one's really good.
It's so good. I really love this song. At the beginning, it's not like heavy as like Maladroit, but like the guitar I find is a bit heavier, which I like for this song particularly. I also like how the guitar and the acoustic, like you said, blend in well while doing two different things at once. It's such a nice way to go. The little picking part is also, in between stuff, is also really nice. Solo's good. Vocals are pretty good. I just want to say, because this came to mind, usually when I think of this song, this always comes to mind. Weezer needs to find peace, especially from Pinkerton. Talking about a pointless relationship, this song, I feel like is composed pretty well.
Yeah, during this song, I went hunting on the internet because Weezer does this thing a lot where it seems like even though it's an upbeat song, the lyrics don't match the mood at times. And so I went looking for it because I remember, I don't know, going back to like grade 11 English, and the phrase is called lyrical dissonance. It's when the lyrics and the mood are opposites of each other. So like you see that in like one of the biggest songs was Foster to People, when they do the Pumped Up Kicks song, where it's like it's a very preppy song, and I hear it at weddings and like people are dancing to it, like, or working out to it. But in the song is like the chorus is about like a school shooting and stuff. And you're just like, this is really morbid, and you don't realize it until you look at the lyrics. But Weezer tends to do this too, where it's upbeat, everything's chipper, and you look at the lyrics and it's like, oh, you're scared, or it's the complete opposite of what you're feeling. So that's why this song just made me think of that, because I was like, okay, this is a general theme. I need to go find the words for this. So that's it right there.
Yeah, I think a part of it is that he's kind of almost like he's speaking his mind and his heart, but he's almost disguising it because he's so vulnerable, and being so vulnerable, it's like hidden behind happier music.
Yeah.
Almost like to make it easier for him to say the things that he's saying. Possibly, anyway.
Probably because he didn't do that with Pinkerton, and it didn't go so well.
So he needs peace.
Yeah, that's
like Pinkerton, he was completely vulnerable, and then the music matched how he was feeling,
and it was not good.
But yeah, the music didn't sound very good. So,
and that's why he regrets it.
In this album, found a way to express himself and be vulnerable while disguising it with nice preppy music.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I would really like to hear Matt's take on "We Are All on Drugs" first.
So I recently watched a documentary on Bob Probert in his life, and just like in the NHL, he was like the big fighter guy on the Red Wings and the Blackhawks. But like in the 80s and 90s, a lot of hockey players were on like crack and different drugs and stuff, and a lot of times they would they would just they would get high so they don't feel the pain, or they would just be like lose all sense of fear for like fights and everything on the ice, just to like intimidate, freak out, push around, not feel the pain at all, and just be able to like charge right into the action. And so they would just be more aggressive because they're high on drugs, and like the song has that aggressive nature to it where it just comes right out, and just like it's very heavy for Weezer, or at least for this album. And so that's one of the things I was thinking of. It's just like it sounds like you're on drugs when listening to this song or whatever. Like not like the relaxing like marijuana sort of thing, but it's like the intense stuff. And it's kind of one of those things where I kept thinking of like idolatry, because like the human condition is like as like humankind falls and gravitates towards sin, we feel the need to be always hooked on something, especially when we're not lined up on with living according to God's commandments. If God is not the center of our lives, we always will gravitate towards something else, and that becomes forms of idolatry. So it's maybe I don't know the meaning behind writing this song. Maybe it's about a girl. I don't know. That seems to be the theme, but it seems like he's either ripping on someone, or maybe just people in general. Society is always addicted to something and needs to be doing something and needs to be, into something, but that something is never going to satisfy until they constantly hop around from drug to drug, idolatry, whatever, until they die, basically.
Yeah.
This song is a bit of a vibe check. After Peace, we then go into a song about drugs, and it sounds like a really fun song about being on drugs and like celebrating that you're being on drugs, but the lyrics are actually like talking about kind of how messed up it is to be on drugs, and it's like just does it in kind of a sarcastic way.
Yeah.
So there are other songs out there that get really popular because they sound really fun and potentially are about drugs or something that people enjoy, but the lyrics are actually about the opposite of what they think they are, or they're actually like condemning what the people who listen to the song are doing. So I feel like this is one of those songs, and it's a good song. It sounds good, and the lyrics are good as well. It's like a PSA on drugs.
The intro's cool. Well, it's actually really cool. I like the way in the verses when he says "on drugs." I feel like that's a very interesting way to put everything off, but I really like how it portrays. I like how pop the chorus is. I feel like that's what makes the song. It's like adrenaline, except drugs. Solo's great, and I love how it adds the other, like at the beginning with the solo part. I love how at the end of the solo, like the bridge solo, they add that in at the end as well. I feel like that was such a great composer's idea.
Most of what I had to say about the song is what Matt said, so I'm glad that he went before me. But basically, yeah, like, the song's a PSA, a statement about society turning to drugs to forget what actually matters, whether it's drugs or whether it's other things. So I don't think he's just talking about drugs even. It's like Matt saying how it's like people turn to something by default.
Yeah,
and two interesting things about the song. This is the first Weezer song other than Say It Ain't So, because like I heard that on Guitar Hero. I think this is the first Weezer song that was actually ever shown to me. A friend showed me the music video for it. The music video is really funny. Like when he's walking down the street, and every time he says "on drugs," it's like an old man or a little girl
I've seen that.
turns and looks
I've
at him,
seen
and
that.
so even though he's singing it, they're like mouthing it, and he's all freaked out or whatever. The other thing about this song is it's funny how much society's declined, because now MTV is allowed, like in music videos and stuff, they have like practically naked women. The content matter of the songs is just like awful, promoting like not good lifestyles and everything. But when this song came out, for them to play it on MTV, there is actually a version of the song that exists that is an alternate version called "We Are All in Love," and that's what they played on MTV because they couldn't sing "We Are All on Drugs" on television on a music video network. So it's actually crazy.
Really?
Just like
that recent?
Yeah,
2005.
we've that's kind of a ways ago now, but
Well, 12 years? No, more than 12 years. 15 years? 17 years? 18 years?
but
That's crazy.
I can't math.
what people need to do instead of turning to drugs is, they need to let go of the damage in their hearts,
Wow.
which I will start us off.
You did it again.
I will start it off because this
Segue.
is my other favorite song on the album. It's also a go-to for me when I'm feeling like extremely deeply sad. Not just because it's a sad song, but it's an encouraging sad song. I would say like 78% of the time I hear this song, I like at least get a little emotional. It reminds me of Butterfly as well from Pinkerton, how he's saying he crossed the line and he's blaming himself for what happened. And I think it's interesting too that he says, one more loss in a losing life doesn't hurt so bad anymore. And I think that line hits really hard because he's basically saying, this is the way it always is. I'm not surprised anymore. But then he's saying, this is the way it is. Why bother caring? But then he brings it back to the chorus, telling you to let it go, the damage in your heart. And also musically, similar regards to what I said about Peace, and like that mix of instruments. I love the pinch harmonics in the lead too. And this one, the outro, really, really drags in a good way, where it kind of like lets you process and linger the emotions that you felt while listening to the song. And I've never noticed the added violin in it before until this time listening through the album.
That's interesting because I wrote down the ending drags on a bit too long, which
Excuse me?
Hey, would you rather listen to Only in Dream, or was it Only in Dream?
Yeah, it was.
Only in Dreams.
That was
very
so long.
Yes.
It was.
Like, comparing to this was fine.
Yeah, that's why I said a bit too long. Like, I recognize that I'm being picky here.
All right, let the man speak.
It's like, it's not like it makes the song bad, or it's not even a bad outro. It's just like, okay, like the song's over, just it's still going, okay, and then it's over, and then it's something I noted.
That's how I feel about your opinion right now.
Well,
because I love this song so much.
it is a good song. I just started with that because that's how you ended.
Okay.
It's another tragic song. I really like all the tragic songs. I usually find them relatable. Not to be melodramatic, but that's life. The chorus, I don't like how it sounds so happy in the chorus when the lyrics are not very happy. Like, it's like Matt said earlier, lyrical dissonance, where it feels like it should sound sad to match the lyrics, but it doesn't. It just it feels off to me. But other than that, it's a good song. It's lyrically and musically enjoyable.
Yeah, I wrote down two things for this song. Basically, he's sad again. And this is the original Let It Go song before Frozen. So take that, Frozen.
Every masterpiece.
Has its cheap copy.
That's right.
Yeah.
Unlike the other albums, even side B is good. Which
Yes.
I found that great. Also, all the songs are also easier to understand so far from all the other albums. Like, some of them are like, what the heck is he talking about? This one, for most songs, is easier to understand. Guitar is nice. So nice, actually. The vocals on the chorus, I think, are really good. Especially when he says, I can't tell you how the words will make you feel. The way, like, certain things Rivers does for this album, he'll do certain different harmonics for certain lines, and just the way how he flows certain lines, I feel like that's what makes this, like, part of this album so good. And yeah.
Well, pardon me, but it's time to move on to the next song. This one feels almost like it's a. I know you've said this about a different song, Stephen, but it almost feels like an alternate sequel to Butterfly, because he says in Butterfly, and that song's from Pinkerton, and he's singing about how he basically ruined everything and like he'll be back, but then he's not coming back. So this is like he came back and he's acknowledging all the damage that he's done to other people, and he's sincerely apologizing with a desire to make it right and be forgiven, even to the people he may have hurt and not realized. I never noticed at the end of it the backing vocals "I Really Want a Friend" alternating in there. I thought that was really nice. And one thing I noticed about this song is that the solo at the beginning sounds like "Love Story" by Taylor Swift. And if you didn't catch that, listen again, because the guitar is clearly saying "We were both young when I first saw you." But this song came out first, so I have a theory that Taylor Swift loves Weezer, or at least heard the song one time and accidentally ripped it off. But listen to it again and you'll hear "Love Story."
I will have to do that. I really like the bass line. That's the first thing I noticed. I think it's just the bass at first, or just the bass and drums. I don't remember. But it was very clear, and I really like the rhythm for it. And I really like the lyrics. I agree with Aiden. It does feel like a sequel to Butterfly. I didn't think of that until he said that, but like, yeah, that's true. Because it's also about how he's hurt people, and he wants forgiveness. Whereas Butterfly felt more hopeless and sad. This song feels like he's kind of moving on, and he's like asking for permission, kind of, but also saying "pardon me." I don't like when he says "pardon me," which is funny because it's the title of the song, and I do like the song, but I find it kind of irritating when he goes "pardon me, pardon me," and does that 3 times. Like, I feel like I wish he wrote something else to go there instead.
That's very un-Canadian of you.
Well, I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry, bud.
The last thing I was going to say was I really like the solo in this song because it sounds really emotional. Usually, solos to me are just meaningless. It's just like a break in the song. But this song, I felt the emotion in the music during the solo, and I really enjoyed that.
So the guitar intro's decent. So in ways, for the first verse and the chorus, I find in certain ways it's relatable. I probably should have took more information before I said this. Yeah, and the lyrics are probably my favorite part about the song. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, I like the themes of kind of repentance and seeking forgiveness. I'm not sure who he hurt, unless it's just in general to like, this goes
all the
out
girls.
to everyone I hurt. Yeah, everyone at once, just in one mass lyrical email, I guess. I do like the part of the song where, I don't know, I think it's in the chorus, but he says something along the lines of, I'm not a perfect soul, but I can learn self-control, because at least he's not blaming other people for his problems. He's actually like taking ownership of that, like, hey, I'm the problem here. I was not necessarily the victim. I need help. I need your forgiveness, kind of thing. So yeah, I appreciate that part of it too, where it's just like the understanding of, instead of just being like, everyone hates me, everyone's done me wrong. It's actually like, hey, I'm part of the problem. I'm to blame here, and I need to take ownership of that. Get my head back on straight. Seek forgiveness.
Yeah,
reconciliation.
Which is really refreshing, because most of the other songs, he's saying that he's the problem, but he's doing it in like a woe is me kind of way. But this, it's more of like a mature, sincere way of handling it.
Yeah.
It seems like he could look at it one way, but he's deciding to look at it the other way.
No, it's my best friend next. That was good, but...
So, it was a good joke, wrong timing.
I love the song. The first time I listened to this album, I had it on shuffle, and this was the first song that came on. So it was like a great introduction. I love the chorus. How he's singing, I love you, to his best friend. Because we don't have a lot of songs about like platonic love that you have for your friends. Most love songs are romantic love. And so this song is unique in that way. And it's just really nice. It's very wholesome, but it could also be seen as, say, if you marry your best friend, then it's like takes on a new meaning where it's like, I love you and you're my best friend, and it's like really cute and just it's wholesome and good either way, and it's a great song.
Like he said, but I friggin' love this song. It's definitely one of the best, probably like top 3. When I first heard this song, I was like, what the heck is this? Because, you know, it like goes all over the place
Yeah, it's
in the
very
beginning.
chaotic to start.
And it sounds a little bit like a better version of Pinkerton, I find. Except not as chaotic and not as bad. I find that it's I'm not gonna say soothing. I like how he's talking to his best friend. Like, I always thought his best friend as a girl and not a guy, and as it was kind of like a love language and also kind of just like a friendship thing. But yeah, I just like the lyrics. 1 second. Vocals I think are pretty good. Solo's so good. This song's so good in general. Yes.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys had already mentioned or whatever, but I was trying to figure out who is his best friend. Like, is it a girl or is it a guy? Is it does he make? Because like okay, because yeah, I was just trying to figure that out. Because even if it's like one of the band members, like if there's 4 or 5 of them, it's like, is there gonna be jealousy because he's closer to one or the other? Or
I was wondering
is it
the
about a
same
girl,
thing.
and if he's going through girls super fast, is he gonna? Yeah, is it actually a best friend though? I don't know. So I was just trying to figure that out throughout the whole song. But finally, a song that's both upbeat and positive driven. So
True.
it's not so melancholy or yeah.
Because I love Weezer and I love Rivers so much, like to think that he is singing to me when I listen to the song. I'm his best friend and he loves me. And
Yes.
when I'm sad, he's sad. Because when I'm sad, I listen to Weezer. And then I'm happier. I let go of the damage in my heart. It's great. But in a much more realistic sense, it's one of the weaker songs on the album. Although they're all incredibly strong.
Disagree.
It's amazing. It's an amazing song. Like, there's no bad songs on this album. But it's not one of my favorites. It is uppity. It's happy. It's a beautiful tribute. One of the things I wrote is like what Matt said. I wonder who he wrote it about. Possibly Pat, the drummer, because like Pat has been there since the beginning with him. They've been friends a really long time. And the abrupt guitar in the chorus, how it like is like single hits with the lyrics, reminds me a lot of Why Bother. In its method of like really emphasizing what he's saying. It's like just such a declaration. I love you, best friend.
I
Which
felt
is
like
very
it
cool.
reminded me of a different song, but I couldn't think of what it was. And he said it reminded him of Pinkerton, so that makes sense.
So, you know, we do have 2 opinions here. We have the opinion that it could be a love song to a girl, or it could be the other way.
Rivers, comment down below.
Yes, that would be amazing. Please clarify. Imagine for the last episode of WEEZCAST, we got Rivers in here.
Yeah.
How
I
did
don't know if
this come
Aiden
up?
is your best friend.
Officially.
I gotta know. Don't break my heart. So the other way, it has similar themes that we've seen, but this one he's explaining why he's scared and adding in that it's also for her sake because he doesn't want to hurt her. He wants his motives to be good. That's mostly what I have to say. Other than I'm gonna read some of the lyrics off that I really like because I feel like to be vulnerable, I feel like they're applicable to me. He says, "I have many fears about rejection. I have many memories of pain. I've always been a little shy, so I'll turn and look the other way." It's kind of sad because it's kind of like a song that he's saying he's giving up.
This song I felt like it was very relatable. He's writing, I want to help you, but I don't know how. I want to soothe you, but I can't speak out. Many fears about rejection, memories of pain, all these things he's saying, like, he has these desires to do good and to help people, but all these fears are holding him back. Fears about what other people think of him and his own motivations. He doesn't even know if he's pure in his motivations. Like, he says, I want to touch you, which I feel like he's saying touching someone to comfort them, but he's saying, like, is that really because I want to comfort them or just because I like physical touch is my love language? Like, that's how I feel about this song. And it's like, I've had that experience so many times where I feel like I want to be like more vulnerable with people in order to help them, but I feel like I need to hold back because I don't know what they'll think of me, or I don't know if my motivations are pure, and so I so often just end up not being a part of people's lives when I probably could help them because I'm too scared. And so I find the song really speaks to me a lot, and it kind of encourages me to maybe put myself out there more, maybe try a little bit harder not to go the other way. It also sounds really good. It's just a good sounding song, yeah.
Yeah, it is a great sounding song. Yeah, I kind of had similar vibes to you, Steven, where it was kind of like wanting to help people with the best intentions, but not wanting to look like I'm just in it because I'm trying to benefit from it. And I think a lot about, I guess, like growing up in school, where it's still in that, you're still that age where it's just like boys stick with boys and girls stick with girls, and it's like, oh, you want to help someone, you know, whatever it is, especially when it's like, like if you're a guy and you want to help a girl, whatever, but you don't want to look like you're trying to like cash in and like be like, hey, like making the move or whatever, but you're like, no, I just want to be genuinely kind, you know, to that person or help them out without any extra. But then, so I don't know what he's writing about, if it is someone of the opposite sex or not, or if it's just someone that's just like, it's not appropriate for him to, you know, be there. Because I know, I get to where it's just like, when your friends group gets really big, or it's just like, if you're well-known rock star like Rivers is, there's only so many people you can help at once. And so, like, it might just be beyond his capacity where, you know, maybe he's on the road, he's on tour kind of thing, and someone's struggling back home, or someone's struggling from his childhood, and he's not able to help them in that current situation. So he feels like, I want to be there to help you, but I also have, like, my life, you know, is going this way and you're going this way, or, like, I don't know what capacity or what the context is of the situation, but maybe he's looking at that.
So the lyrics for this, what I don't exactly understand it, but it sounds like he's fears from being hurt again from other relationships.
Do you want to start off freaking me out as well?
Yes. Who's he talking about? His girlfriend's dad. That's what it sounded like. But I'm not sure because that's just...
He came out of nowhere.
Yeah. Song's pretty weak as well. It's not like... So, Make Believe is good. It's probably better than every album so far, obviously. But there are some songs that the lyrics could be written a little bit better, and Freak Me Out is kind of like that. But it's still pretty decent.
This is the first song on the album that I actually don't like, and it's the second last song, so not bad. It's a weird song, and I don't really understand what it's about. Like, there's some guy that comes out of nowhere that freaks him out, and he's like trying to be friendly. I don't know. It's just like, I don't see the point of it, and it doesn't really appeal to me at all. So it's not a terrible song by any means. Like, it's probably more listenable than most of Pinkerton, like, for example, or even Maladroit. But it's like...
Disagree.
He's out of line, but he's right.
So not a bad song, not terrible, but also not really a good song either. Just kind of there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I saw that someone commented on, like, when I was looking up the lyrics for the song, that this is the rumor has it sort of thing, but he started writing the song about a spider that freaked him out. I don't know if that's true or not, because then one of the lyrics is like buying you a drink, and it's just like, what the heck is going on, or like, what drugs are you on to buying arachnids beer or whatever. Like,
I will say that's not even that far of a stretch for Rivers.
Yeah,
I mean,
That it could be about a spider.
especially since he wrote a song about it.
That sounds both like accurate and makes sense of the song. Almost sense. Not full sense, but more sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely like the mood of it, where it's this eerie sort of, I'm paranoid of something lurking around me or whatever. Yeah. So it definitely changed from the rest of the album too. Where
Yeah.
like it's definitely not my favorite song on the album, but interesting that you could make the instrumental sound that way.
Yeah.
With 4 people. Maybe there's more production going on in the background or whatever, but that's just to have the Weezer sound go into that is very different.
I'll start off by saying I really like the pinch harmonics throughout the whole song. It sounds very cool. The harmonica solo is cool. It's like 2 seconds long, and literally, like, I can play the harmonica. I think he has it in one position. He blows out, he sucks in, he blows out, he sucks in, and then the solo's done. Like, he's not even moving it around. It's just so simple, but it's still good. Like, I have no complaints. I think the song's about social anxiety, like 100%. I'm like, I've never known what the song is about either, but reading the lyrics this time, I'm like, oh my gosh, he is. So he's like, and he's saying the city streets at night. It's like he's going out, maybe clubbing or to bars or something, and like somebody comes out of nowhere and they're just doing their own thing, but he's like, he's trying to make friends, but he's so anxious. And then towards the end of the song, he says, everyone, yes, everyone is my friend. And it's like he's coming out of his shell and kind of becoming more comfortable.
Makes sense.
That helps me to appreciate the song more, both what you said and what Matt said. I'll be thinking about those.
All right, Steven.
This song is the second song on the album that I don't really like. This one I actually like better than Freak Me Out. I like the instrumental. Like, I like the piano and I like how the instruments sound, but I don't like Rivers singing in this one, and I don't like the lyrics either. It's creepy and like mean. That's it.
Alright, I just wanted to ask, have you listened to the 4th episode, like all of it?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to ask quickly. So, for Maladroid, there is a line from the song Possibilities where I'll bleed you out. And we were discussing that and what that means. And,
So many possibilities.
and then on this album, he says, I'm gonna kill when I need a thrill. And with that, I thought, wow, he really is telling the world that he is mentally unstable.
That's one of my notes, actually, too.
The whole song it's very unique because I'm not used to Weezer playing piano, but I love the guitar solo in it towards the end. But yeah, it made me think a lot about kind of the theme of kind of like shame or some sort of baggage that person carries with them that is sort of like haunting them, annoying them. They just can't seem to shake it, like live their life normally because they're constantly being dragged down by this thing. There's actually like a TV series that portrays this very well called The Haunting of Hill House, where they kind of like the ghosts that the characters on the show talk about or experience. It's very much like, is it real or is it not? But it represents kind of the guilt and shame of things that happened in their past, and so you kind of get flashbacks of different things of like life as a child and life in present day as adults that they all have grown up. And so you kind of see it like the ghost kind of manifest as they just can't seem to shake the shame or the whatever PTSD happened in their past, and that's kind of the theme I get from this song. But at the same time, yeah, he's lyrics like that where like he kind of sounds like a serial killer. So I'm like, is he the ghost or is he the one being ghosted, or not ghosted, but like being haunted by the
Wouldn't
ghost?
surprise me.
Yeah.
This song I never liked, ever. Only song on the album I never liked until I got the vinyl, put it in, listened to the whole album through, and I enjoyed it.
It's a temple of change, man.
And this song's another acknowledgement that he's kind of crazy and causes damage in relationships and being careless. I think that he is the one doing the haunting, and it's not like he's not saying that he wants to go kill for thrills. This song is him mourning the fact that he is the way that he is. Like he says, when will stupid learn? Fire's gonna burn. Think of consequences. Then you move when it's your turn. He's like, this song is him beating himself up over the way that he is, and he feels bad because whether it's true or not, I think he feels like he has damaged a girl, probably one in
Physically?
particular.
Butterfly.
No, not physically, but like almost caused trauma to a girl, and he's singing his remorse for that because he feels like he messed up so bad that it's going to haunt her every day. So overall, I think that the song is him expressing that regret. And yeah. So I think that's it for all of the songs. So we'll move on to our final sequence where we discuss our overall album thoughts in a brief little recap and give our rating from 1 to 5 stars. Decimal points are welcome. Who would like to start?
I've talked about this at the end of Maladroid before, but the way how blue has its style, then green makes it happier, and then Maladroid comes and it even pumps it up more, and then this one is like, it's like a more depressed version, but it's also like hyping up more as well. And I feel like most of the solos in here aren't as, like, I enjoy more solos in Maladroid than in this album, but there are some really good solos in here. I'd probably rate it a 4.8.
This album is so good, I forgot how good it was.
Same for me.
Like, before we listened to it, I was looking at the song names and I couldn't remember most of them. I thought, is this album really that good if I don't remember most of the songs? And then listening to it again, I'm like, oh my gosh, how could I forget all these great songs? So, I guess I'm always pleasantly surprised by this album. It's definitely the best album so far. I love every song except for the last two. Several songs had me on the verge of tears.
Same.
It's so good. Decimal points may be welcome, but they are not needed. This album gets a straight 5 out of 5 stars.
Heck yeah.
Even though I don't care for the last two songs, the other songs are so great that they make up for it.
Yeah, overall really good. Definitely, it's nice to actually look into this album because I heard it so long ago and actually getting to familiarize myself with the lyrics and everything. Yeah, and I think a lot of alternative bands like Weezer, like, I can't always be just very hard on them for the lyrics because a lot of these bands will repeat them over and over again, and there's not as many lyrics as like hip hop or rap or other genres of music, whatever. But the music itself is really great. It sounds like real. Like, it sounds like they're actually, like, all the music that you hear on these albums, they could be playing live in a concert and not just like playing in the background to a track and like over it. Like, it sounds like you can actually just.
Do I need to be liked? Absolutely not.
Didn't need to do that.
That's okay.
But yeah, I do like this album. I don't need to be liked on this album. But yeah, I'd probably give it a 4.25.
4.25, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
2 decimal
I
points.
just wanted to say something quickly. The reason why I didn't give it a straight 5 is because of Freak Me Out and Haunt You Every Day.
Okay.
If those weren't there, or if they made them better, I'd probably give it a straight 5.
All right. Well, in regards to Haunt You Every Day, like I said, that was the only song I didn't think. I've always thought this is an absolutely perfect album other than that song, but now I really like that song. So I think this is a perfect album. It is hopeful. It is sad. What an absolute step up from Maladroit. Like, Maladroit's pretty good, but this album just takes the cake. The music is so much more intricate than anything else they had done thus far. I love the combo of instruments, especially the addition of a lot of keys, which had been not really seen in Weezer before. And then the backup vocals and harmonies, absolutely breathtaking on almost every song. Lyrically, so much more content than especially Maladroit, but any of the albums in the same amount of time. Like, there's so much more to it in the same, like, runtime, and I really appreciate that. At this moment, I would say my favorite Weezer album is this one. 5 out of 5. Sorry, Van Weezer. Make Believe takes the cake.
Until we get there.
Until we get there. You never know. I think my opinions have been changing a lot about individual songs and albums and stuff since we've been doing this.
Same for me.
So...
I did not realize I was going to be the lowest score, so now I'm feeling like the Russian judge.
No, that's okay. You gave it a good score.
Bringing
Over
down the
5's
average
good.
for you guys.
So thank you.
I just wanted to say, what was your favorite song?
Probably Hold Me. I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good choice.
So thank you, Matt, for being our guest. We really appreciate you joining us for this episode. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you. So, ladies and gentlemen, this has been WEEZCAST.
Ka-ching.
Next week we will be back for the Red Album with my cousin Spencer. Looking forward to that.
Yeehaw.